And today I'm going to show you how to build a very simple web app with dLite. First, just browse to platform.dlite.io and click on the button Start with a blank project. I'm going to build a very simple app with just an input, a text input, and you can enter your name in this text input, and I'm going to have a button, and when you click on the button, there's going to be a dialog saying hello, whatever the name is in the input box. So the first thing to do is to create an input. So I'm going to use a basic component here on the left, and I can just drag and drop the input component in my root container here. This component is bound to an object which is the parent data source, the data source corresponding to the parent component. I'm going to remove it because I don't need it here. And I'm going to add a label like please enter your name. I'm going to play the application. Now I can enter my name in this input and go back in the edit mode, and you can see that the data is still here because in dLite the edit mode is basically the same as the run mode and you use the same data. So if I go in the data of my input, I can see the value of the data I just entered. Now I'm going to add a button and a dialog box. So I'm just going to drag and drop a button here in the main container, and I'm going to add a dialog box. So dialog box are in the advanced component. Here's my dialog. I'm going to add a title to the dialog, like hello. And I'm going to make sure that the dialog shows when I click the button. So to do this, I'm going to go in the events section of the button. And you see there's already a click event on the button with the default action. I'm going to make sure that the target is my dialog, so dialog 0, and the action is the show action, just to show the dialog. So let's try to play this application here. So I've got still my input box, and when I click on the button, I open my dialog hello, and there's currently nothing in my dialog. So I'm going to add a component. Going to add a text component, very simple component, inside the dialog. And the value of this text is going to be a JavaScript formula. In dLite, to write JavaScript formula, just start with equal sign and then write a regular JavaScript expression, like here is going to be hello plus the data contained in my input box. In dLite, to access the data of a component, you just use the $D function. The $D function with the name of the component you want to get the data of. Here is going to be input 0. So I'm going to pass input 0 for the name of the component. And you see that this formula evaluates to hello Renault, because Renault is what is in my input box. If I change the value of the input box, which is always possible, you can see that it updates automatically the text in my dialog box. So now if I run my small application, I can write anything in my input box, and when I click on the button it says hello, whatever the name is in my dialog box, which was what I wanted to do. Now I can of course save my app. I can set a name first, so I'm going to call it simple hello, and I'm going to save my project on my local disk. So I don't need any account, I don't need any registration, no cloud. You can just save it locally. Then you can go back on the platform and you can load it again with the load project file button. Simple hello dLite. Here it is once again. Oops. So that's my project. Now I can of course style it a little bit. Like for example, I can style the button, so I can add an icon, for example, like a check icon. These are Bootstrap view icons, so you can just check the documentation of Bootstrap view icons to know what icons you can use here. You can, in the style, you can choose a pill button, and you can add a Bootstrap class on the container of the component to center it, for example. So take center. You can change the variant, which is again a Bootstrap class, to success, for example. You can also change the name of the application in the navigation bar here. Like my hello app, and so on and so forth. And once you have changed your application, of course, you can just save it. You know, it creates some sort of revision here with a new file, and you can upload it later on the platform again. This is my new revision, and this is my new app with a green button. I hope you enjoyed it and have fun with dLite.